Hi there, I'm Dr. Christian Mostert from Kick-Ass Dissertations, and we are busy writing our research proposal. So this is section 8, the research design. Now, not all universities require for you to put forward a research design during your research proposal, so you need to check with your university. But in case you need it, so here is a brief overview. But before we start, I just want to highlight that this research design is actually pretty much a complex topic, because here you have to put forward the what. How are you going to do the actual research, and what techniques are you going to follow? So this is a high-level overview of how to do that. I'm going to highlight for you the 4 main areas that you need to investigate and document. So you're going to have those 4 headings without any question. So let's have a look at what it entails. The first is the purpose of the research design. So here you're going to provide the academic board with an early indication, so it can change, an early indication of how you intend to structure your research process and techniques that you're going to use to achieve your research objectives. Now, this really then requires careful thought, as it is going to be the how of your research. And you will have to rely on a good research textbook. You can have a physical book, but there are many good online ones as well to guide you through this. So let's look at the breakdown of what this section entails. So there are 4 main areas, or headings if you want to, that you have to use when you compile this section. The first is your research paradigm. So this will be the departing point. How do you think and going to approach your research? Then you're going to delve into more detail by using the research methodology. And for instance, here you're going to start to choose between quantitative and qualitative type of analysis, mixed method studies, and so forth. Then we're going to look at the actual research techniques and methods that you are going to follow. So you have to become even more specific in terms of choosing exactly how you're going to do that. And then lastly, you have to confirm, as the 4th heading here, how you're going to ensure academic rigor, and also how will you comply to the strict research ethics that are put forward by your institution. So those are the 4 main areas that you need to cover when you develop your research design. And I know it's going to be relatively difficult for you in the beginning. So look at the steps that are follow there in sequence here, and make sure that you try to do your best. I will strongly encourage you to contact your supervisor halfway through this process, just to soundboard a little bit your thinking, and he or she can then also guide you in this. A practical way to approach this is that there was a study that developed what is called a research onion. That is a very practical tool to help guide you through these 4 steps, or at least the first 3 steps: the paradigm, then the methodology, and then the techniques that are available to you. So though it doesn't tell you which one to use, it really helps you understand the flow of the research. And I want you to Google search the research onion. And if you go to the images, you'll see that there are quite a number of them. Get a more detailed one, and you'll see that you work from the outside inward to try and help guide you with the options that you need to consider. It's a very practical approach. Remember that on MBA and master's levels, it is important that you must list all the alternatives. Say, for instance, there's a choice between quantitative and qualitative and mixed method studies. You mention all 3, and with a brief discussion about each one of them. And this is really important. So you have to state the alternatives. You're going to do that throughout the whole section here. And that, of course, will take up quite a bit of space, just mentioning all the alternatives. And then, of course, each section you have to conclude your choice. So if you're going to do, for instance, then a mixed method study, you have to state why have you chosen the mixed method study. Even though you're going to mention all 3, you need to state the reason why you choose that specific one. For PhD, most universities do not require of you on a PhD level to provide all the alternatives anymore because you've done that in your master's study. So on a PhD level, you're going to provide only the one that you're going to use, but you need to discuss that in quite in depth. So you will have to provide analysis of that technique or whatever you're going to do there in much more detail that will be the case for a master's degree. Good. And then the length. In a research proposal, this section will typically be about 3 to 5 pages for MBA, master's degree, perhaps 5 to 8 pages, and PhD, 5 to 10 pages. So it is a little more comprehensive. You need to think very carefully, but if you look at those 4 steps that we've highlighted for you, the paradigm, methodology, and technique methods, there's quite a bit of involved decision making there, and that will tend to take up a little more space. Also, don't forget the last section on academic rigor and ethics. Those are very important topics in modern research, and you need to address them very specifically. Certainly, that section alone will take up a page or two. You can't just skimp over them. Good. So this is the research design section. And we encourage you also to go to kickassdissertations.com, and there you can get the full details on the course on how to approach your research design.